All right, Lieutenant General Yolisa Matakata has replaced Berning Ntlemeza as the head of the Hawks. Yesterday, Police Minister Fikile Mbalula withdrew an application to appeal a High Court ruling that ordered Hawks boss Berning Ntlemeza to vacate his office. The High Court in Pretoria upheld a ruling that Ntlemeza's appointment in 2015 was invalid and set it aside. Well, let's meet the new acting head of the Hawks, Lieutenant General Yolisa Matakata. She joins us from our Pretoria studios. Lieutenant General, thank you for joining us. As you moved up the ranks, we know you've been in crime intelligence for 15 years, so you've got the experience behind you. Did you see yourself leading the Hawks?
I've never thought about that. So it is also a surprise for me, but it's something I'm looking forward to for the duration of that responsibility given to me.
It is going to be tough, and this was touched on today, the matter of perceptions. The public has been asking for a while Berning Ntlemeza was in his job for so long, when a judge found that he had committed perjury, that he was biased and dishonest, that he was lacking integrity. You've been part of the leadership of the Hawks. How do you plan to show that we can distinguish between his leadership and your leadership?
Well, what I can say, we are different individuals, and as well as having the same had the same understanding of what government seeks for us to do as the Hawks. So I know that we will be able to deliver on what the government has mandated us to do as the Hawks. And the perception out there is something that we have to work hard on as the Hawks to make sure that the citizens of the country see that we are delivering on what we've been asked to deliver on by government. So it will be through our actions and the successes we will have to produce that would perhaps change the perceptions.
Lieutenant General, you were apparently part of the committee that appointed Berning Ntlemeza. Did you support his leadership? What was your relationship with him?
I think that needs to be corrected. I was not part of the panel that took decisions on appointing General Ntlemeza. The panel, I am sure the former Minister of Police, on announcing the appointment, made it clear the panel was made up of ministers. I couldn't have been in the panel and take decisions in appointing General Ntlemeza at the time. My role was just a secretary to just support the committee on secretarial duties, not a panelist. And therefore, I had no decisions to make in that regard. I was just taking the minutes and just recording the proceedings.
All right, thank you for correcting that error. Your relationship with Berning Ntlemeza, was it a good one?
We had a good working relationship. I learned a lot from General Ntlemeza, and I think the whole of the environment in the DPCI has learned a lot from General Ntlemeza. And therefore, I think even beyond what has happened, I still have that respect for him as a person and also someone that I've learned a lot from.
Even though he lied under oath, and as an official, maybe we should even be talking about perjury charges.
Well, that is a matter that the court had to decide, and unfortunately, I was not working with him at the time of those decisions. I was a provincial head in the Western Cape. So when I joined him at head office level, these matters were in court already. So in terms of what might have been decided by the courts based on the decisions and everything that was alleged to have taken place, I cannot really say that I can't have and look up at him as an individual that I've worked with. And I'm going to say I have respect for him in terms of the leadership that he gave within the Hawks and what I've learned from him.
All right, Lieutenant General, one of the big and most controversial cases has come up recently, And some believe that the case against the former Finance Minister, Pravin Gordhan, had the hallmarks of a witch hunt. There was talk of massive charges related to the rogue unit. Then, in the end, he was charged for fraud in a matter relating to somebody's pension, where he had actually sought legal advice. And the case, like many Hawks cases, was dropped. Did you support the prosecution of the former Finance Minister?
Well, I would say there was a team that was investigating the former Minister of Finance, and General Ntlemeza did communicate as in his position with the National Director of Public Prosecutions, who made his pronouncement on that matter.
So did you support it? Were you involved in the decision making, or were you supportive on the sidelines?
No, I would say that as someone who was working with General Ntlemeza, I would have been responsible for the governance in the environment, the administration in the environment. So those kinds of matters would have been directly taken to him as the head for final decisions, and then he would have directed the case to the NDPP.
All right, sure. Mr. Ntlemeza, I think recently he said that the investigation into that rogue unit in fact continues. Is that something that you plan to pursue?
The investigation is continuing, as was also alluded to, I think, by the National Director of Public Prosecutions when he was asked about that investigation. So it's one of the issues that I must go and look into and see how far is that investigation and what is going on within that investigation. Like all other investigations that are taking place in the DPCI.
Lieutenant General, can I ask you a quick final question? We are running out of time. People are wondering where the Hawks are in clear cases of corruption. We know that there were inflated invoices around Nkandla time, maybe something even more clear-cut. The former Deputy Finance Minister, SABC Jonas, saying that he was offered a bribe, suitcases of cash. Where are you on those issues? Are we going to see more prosecutions?
Those matters are still under investigation, and I wouldn't want to comment on that because these are still matters that are being investigated by the Hawks. When the time is right, the National Director of Public Prosecutions will make pronouncements and decide on those cases.
All right, we appreciate your time this evening. Thank you very much. The new acting head of the Hawks, Lieutenant General Yolisa Matakata.